the first question I would like to jointly ask Mr. Abhijit Iyer Mitra and Mr. Albert, which is related, which is I mean, all of you can see it. It's already there in the chat from Mr. Sushrut. So he's saying that do you think it is in the short run, it will be in India's interest to kind of have a kind of a strategic position as we are entering into a phase of Cold War, and if we are looking at a UNSC permanent seat, as the audience, the Mr. Sushrut is asking, what kind of strategy should we adopt? So I think first, Abhijit, probably you can go, and then we can have Mr. Albert on this.
Sure. Look, the Cold War is a product of when manufacturing was a lot easier. In the 1960s and 70s, when Boeing manufactured a plane, 85 to 93% of it was made in-house on location. Today, when Boeing makes a plane, less than 25% of it is made at the Boeing factory. The remaining 75% is made abroad by micro, medium, and small sector companies, which is, the nature of global manufacturing has changed completely. So, what was applicable with the Soviet Union, USA versus the Soviet Union, isn't applicable with China. Because remember, China's industrialization itself started in 89. The Cold War had virtually ended. 91 as in full-on end to the Cold War. So the economic paradigms you're looking at wasn't as a result of some thought-out strategy. It was the methods adopted by America against the Soviet Union were based on the industrial reality of the time. The methods of engagement adopted by the USA against China are based on the industrial reality of the 90s, because the digital revolution happened in the 80s and the information revolution in the 90s. The second part of it, of that question, which was, the UN Security Council seat, you're not getting it in my lifetime. I don't know why people in India believe that China is going to agree to a Security Council seat for India. But every time I go to China, remember, the Chinese foreign ministry is a joke. Even their own military and their own party doesn't take the Chinese foreign ministry seriously. The people to talk to are the People's Liberation Army. And they're very clear that they won't allow India into the Security Council in 100 years. It's quite delusional, actually, to think that, and we seem to have this consistent blind spot with regards to China. We take them at face value, despite hundreds of lessons in the past and present to not take them at face value. They will blatantly lie to you, saying, "Oh, we have not given nuclear weapons to Pakistan. Oh, we've not given nuclear weapons to North Korea. Oh, we've not given missile technology to Pakistan." Do you believe any of that? No. So when they say, oh, maybe we'll give you a Security Council seat, don't believe them. They're going to veto it. Not happening. Unrealistic.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. Can you please give your remarks on the same question?
Yes, absolutely. So I would say, with regard to kind of the strategy or the posture that India should be adopting, I would stress that India is now a major defense partner of the United States, and is now a part of the Quad kind of emerging alliance. And I would say that India, together with those partners, should look towards something called National Security Decision Directive 75, which was passed by the Reagan administration in 1983, I believe. NSDD-75, it basically laid out America's policy towards dealing with the Soviet Union. It was based on 3 points, which was containment, right? I think India should seek to contain China in all domains possible. Also, it stressed support for democratic movements within the Soviet Union. And the third thing was an insistence on mutual reciprocity. And that may be difficult dealing one-on-one with China, but when you have friends, which India does, that's something that that you can insist on and should. And then one minor point is somebody pointed out to me that one or more of those maps may have shown integral parts of Indian territory as belonging to Pakistan, which is absolutely not correct. The person who sent me the message said that one of the maps showed Gilgit-Baltic as part of Pakistan, which is not something I agree with, but I didn't make the maps. The people who made them, it was listed on the images. And then with regard to Security Council seat, I mean, it's my opinion that the United States, frankly, should restrict visas for China's UN delegation until such time that China is held accountable for the pandemic. And India might as well get China's seat in the meantime.
Thank you for your reply, Mr. Albert, and we appreciate the fact that the clarification that you gave for the map. Moving on, Dr. Patnaik sir, being a public representative and someone who's also been a part of the government system for so long, my question to you, sir, would be that what do you think governance and legislative interventions that can be made to ensure that the economic decoupling takes place, as well as something that you very strongly made a point about as to having an excellence nature in terms of both manufacturing and services, like that is created in our country, sir? Sir, you'll have to, sir, unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jayraj, for this question. I didn't talk about it, but very correctly, data was talked about. So, as you know, I'm a member of the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Data Protection, and we have been discussing, I think, in the last maybe more than 50 sessions of 2 hours each, after interacting with a whole lot of stakeholders, including social intermediaries, the think tanks, the policy makers, the government, the non-state actors, everybody, we realized what was just spoken about, that data is going to be what the Chinese will be looking forward to control the world through. And therefore, we have to be very careful. And he very correctly said that the Chinese have taken advantage of the data outside of the world, but they have never let any of their data come outside their borders. So this is one area where we are trying to expedite the policy framework in the form of that bill, and probably it would see the light of the day very soon in the parliament. In which case, I think both in terms of control of cross-border data flows, data localization, that is storage. I can go on and on about the about the cloud capture of the world cloud infrastructure by the Chinese. In fact, this is a golden opportunity for India to become the data capital of the world, and that's not easy though. But policy frameworks, coercive measures cannot sufficiently change the regime, change the ecosystem. It has to be both push and pull. So the finance minister announces measures to promote data centers, and the incentives are there. But then, if you have 64 licenses to be taken for setting up a data center, who will set it up? So these are policy measures which have to be taken at one go by an industrial group kind of a stuff, because it has to happen in a single package, and it cannot be in a piecemeal manner, which I think is still happening in a piecemeal manner. You are reacting to something. You are not incentivizing the creation of a data economy in the country, in which case we would be having the largest cloud service of the world and or even the United States. So that's what we have to strive. That's what the policy push has to take place. A number of regulatory measures by all the ministries sitting together. So that's on the data front. On the front of, this is about the software part. About the equipment, I still think we haven't got enough regulations, because even a dead cell phone is collecting data about your body, about everything, what we call as personal data, as was being spoken about by this earlier speaker. So that's where again we have to intervene. The other aspect, which is a broader thing, is that once you have this quest for excellence, you would realize that if you, and India, the second aspect is quality. What distinguishes the world from the Chinese is this aspect. The Chinese never gave any importance to quality, produced everything that was just low cost. But the world is not like that. So we can differentiate ourselves, our products, by emphasizing on quality products at a cost which is competitive. And by doing that, we are actually not going to be falling into the trap of actually competing directly with a Chinese product. But the quality aspect would come into account only if, I repeat, if there is a quest for excellence. If it is a chalta hai attitude, it will not happen. So that's where the administrative, the political, even the social fabric has to think about.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for your insightful remarks, especially the fact that how you mentioned that just like ease of doing business or ease of living, we also need to have something of a metric of ease of data accessibility, data storage in the country.
That's right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Moving on to the next question, Dr. Sharma, ma'am, there's a question with regards to the education system in the country, where Mr. Srinivas has asked a question that how do you think that in a country as in India right now, where we are expected to raise our per capita amount spent on education, so with there are so many different boards in the country, there are so many regulatory agencies, and in the middle of them we are trying to pursue the goal of of providing world class education to our students. And so how do you think, what are the kind of measures probably that can be taken to improve the quality of education? Because educated per capita, the demographic dividend that you very rightly mentioned, can only come to use or can only be optimized when they are well educated. So, ma'am, your remarks on that?
Thank you, Mr. Jayraj. It's a very pertinent question, especially in today's India. And especially today when we are going through the COVID situation, and most of the country, we are not able to go, the students are not able to go to the school because we do not have those facilities available to all the students, especially at the lower income group, I would say more pertinently. Yes, with the new education policy, we are moving towards more skill-oriented education to begin with first. Secondly, the government is trying to come out with a education system which is going to be uniform throughout India. And for that, many steps are being taken. And especially during this pandemic, I would like to highlight that there have been classes for the students on Doordarshan. They have been catering to the classes, especially for the students who are living at the village level, so that their skill sets are not gone away with and they are able to improve themselves. We have MOOC, which has been created so well. Then we have the open credit system, the credit system in which you can take a, let's say you want to take an economics micro course, and you can take it from an IIT professor also. So you can have those credit systems coming to you from different all over India, wherever you choose to study from, and that is now accounted into your mark sheet. So, there are a lot of things which are being done at the level of the policies. Much, yes, of course, needs to be done, because look at the diversification of your own economy, on your own structure, your villages, everything. But overall, I would say a shift towards skill-based education, which is actually the requirement of the time and the day, is taking place. And you cannot do something just with one hammer and then it is done. You're talking about skilling India. And India, wherein you see you have all levels of people, all level of children there. So overall, yes, again, I come back to your question, the demographic dividend, yes, we can encash that provided we have the skills. And there has been a debate going on for the last 10 years now that what are the skills required outside India, and we skill our people accordingly so that we actually export our own skilled manpower outside. So all those moves are actually going on, and we are in the process, and hopefully we will be reaching the desired results also. Thank you. Mr. Jayraj, you are muted.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for correction. I'll move to the last question for the session. It is to Pradeep Kumarji. Dr. Kumar, my question to you is that because you have an extensive experience based out of Europe, we are seeing a very concerted action from the European Union on the kind of activities that China has been doing, especially in the recent months. We have witnessed how both Mr. Emmanuel Macron and Angela Merkel have taken a very strong stand as far as the European Union against China, especially with regards to 5G is concerned. So, if you can throw some light on the current perspective or the kind of thought processes that are going on at the European Union level as far as their relationship with China is concerned.
Thank you so much, Jayraj. Quite interesting question, because being in Poland and working with the European Union, we do realize that power shift and the balance of power in the international relations are changing and shifting, especially when we are going through this pandemic situation. So rightly, you have mentioned that many countries in the European Union, especially with the Western European countries like France, Germany, you have UK and other countries, they are taking quite restricted measures and very strong kind of implementations they have done with the Chinese goods, Chinese relationship, and the strategically with 5G checking and the execution in the European Union. Because people, they are very much concerned with how it is going to react, how it is going to affect our physical and the mental health issues. So probably they are going to be restricted as per comparing with Indian activities. European Union and the many European countries, they are very much positive. Even I was very much surprised by knowing during the current scenario, during pandemic time, Poland has come up with the highest export-import partners in the Central Eastern European countries with India. So we are the fifth largest exporters to India, and many Polish companies, they have targeted to go to Indian economy, and Indian companies as well, they're coming here. So I think that the relationship which has been developed between India, Poland, specifically since World War II, when thousands of Polish children were protected and homed in Gujarat, and especially they have still a small place where they call Małe Polsce, so a small Poland in India. So that kind of a relationship which has been based on very practical manner, evidently that is helping towards European to think positive and make a strategy to develop business strategies with India rather than to China. So such kind of very positive energy which is coming from the European Union side as well. They're very much positive. Thank you.